Well, hello everybody. How are you doing as I am about to prepare leaving the station? So I hope you're on the bus. I know I've restocked it, so it's got all the mind coitus you could want. You're going to enjoy this conversation, folks. Welcome everyone in the chat room. And before I introduce our special guest, let me just speak favor over us all. Never cannot have enough favor. That's all I got to say. And then we always like to top it off with nothing missing, nothing broken being your ever eternal reality. Um, some people say, well, there's a lot of things missing in my life. Well, that's why we speak it. We create what we speak. And even if it's just our reality, it's still reality. So anyway, thank everyone, the moderators. Much love to you all. I look at most of all of you as moderators anyway, but thank you and everyone in the chat room. We have an exciting guest. Folks, you're going to love our guest. She is been with, I guess, Bernadette, you've been
I have,
here a while, haven't you?
yes, I've been here since Patrick was speaking to
Yes, talking with the
yes,
planets.
planet.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah.
when I joined. Yes,
That, by the way, was some of the most groundbreaking work that
yes.
this channel has done in 10 years. I mean, no one's ever copied it. So, well, you've heard me already say her name, but let me introduce Bernadette. Bernadette, how are you, my dear? And thank you for coming on.
I am just wonderful and delighted to be here.
So I know everybody is going to want, I can hear the dialect and I know where you're from, but why don't you tell everybody, because folks, you're not going to believe this. But anyway, so where are you from, Miss Bernadette? Tell us.
I am from Trinidad and Tobago, an island in the Caribbean.
Beautiful, beautiful. Does it really have like the beautiful blue waters and the white sand?
Yes, no, well, I guess our a little different, but Barbados and the other islands,
Hmm,
you see that turquoise water, and we
yeah.
are more southerly, so our sand is a little darker.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And it gets
yes.
hot.
And it's very hot. It's tropical country. It's very, very hot.
Are you impacted by hurricanes too, aren't you?
Yes, we are, but luckily for us, we are very mountainous, and
Okay.
um, and sometimes, if the hurricane comes off the African coast, it will come as not as heavy. It will
Hmm.
take a little while before we can get something that is big. As it continues and go through the warmth of the waters is when it builds up. The
Yeah.
hurricane will build up. But sometimes we are quite lucky because of the mountains.
So you have mountains there. It's always, I never associate
Yes, we are
mountains with
mountain.
the tropical area, but yes, you do, huh?
Yes, we are mountainous. Yes,
Wow.
it's beautiful.
I was going to say it has to be beautiful. I mean,
Yes,
it just
yes,
and I've seen Gogo in there. Gogo's all the way from Croatia, so we're all over the world. I mean, it's just wonderful. So,
yes.
Bernadette, you have the name goddess, and I want to say this is Abena. Is that correct?
Abeena, yes, Abeena, yes,
See, I got it, folks. Hmm.
yes.
And while we were talking before we just telling everybody, um, you were telling me you were born on a Tuesday, and that's what Abena means.
Yes,
So a
yes,
goddess Abena, folks. I love that. So
yes,
I'm just going to address you as goddess because I think that in essence, every every woman is a goddess. I mean, they can do
yes,
something males can't do. Yeah, I know we participate, but you actually give birth, and that to me makes you a deity, every woman.
yes, yes. And you see, many of us do not understand that, and we downplay ourselves, and hence the reason why I keep saying that when we are mentioning God and talking about God, we always say he and he and he. What about the
Yes.
she? What about the she? So I think that it's time that we free the feminine and allow her to take front stage and center stage as well, along with the male.
I
You
think
know, and the
the
world
male
would
would be afraid of that.
I understand that. I realize
Yeah.
that. You know,
Yeah.
it's a struggle. It's a struggle to bring the feminine to the fore. And in my conversations with people who I was familiar with, and I keep referring to the feminine, and they are annoyed with me. So I have lost many friends as a result. You know, because I don't think the world is ready to really put the feminine on the center stage. And we have to, because as long as the feminine is in the back seat, there will be no peace.
Mm.
The
Yes.
world will
Yeah.
know no peace. When
Yes.
I when you hear the news and you hear the patriarchy with their wars and their toys, you know, as
Yeah.
to my toy bigger than yours and my toy more dangerous than yours. What is that?
Well, you and I were talking that the world is ruled by the patriarchal, masculine, male
Yes,
presence. And the female has no say or has no power or no voice. And but when I knew you were coming on, I kept thinking about this because I have become more, I was a Christian, Pentecostal. God was always masculine. It was the only
yes,
way I knew how to pray. The Messiah was masculine. And in nowhere do we ever see the feminine. So for me, growing up, it was foreign for me to even think that there would be such a thing as a goddess.
yes.
In my awakening, and it's amazing. I want to hear your journey because the dates are so interesting. We're all within this closed time period. But I find myself now in my spirit giving more praise and gratitude and thanksgiving to the goddess. Now, I don't know what she is. I see the representation of Earth, which would be the closest I could get. But again, for us in the world today, goddess, it's very strange and very foreign for us to address the feminine in the same stance and position with the masculine.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is that what my thinking is that after my journey of self mastery, and I
When did
went
that
through
journey
a lot.
start, by the way?
It started officially on the 2013, May 2013, which is in the May 2013, when I started to take this journey. And I used to go walking on a morning. I would leave my home around 5 a.m. in the morning and walk in nature. And that has been my class, my lesson, learning who I am. And it's simply nature is our teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And embracing, now where I go walking, they had a river. And I started, there was a lot of tears, because you are in chaos, because you're trying to find who you are. And there are a lot of misconceptions and, things that you're not too sure of, things that, you have you confused. So, and then the river started speaking to me. One morning I went to the river, I was just, crying. And like the river, like it opened. I saw fishes, I saw a turtle, I saw an electric eel came through the water. And there were people around walking on the bridge, and I am telling them, and they're not seeing what I am seeing. So someone told me that it is not for them, it's for me, because people think I am crazy, you know. And then it started with the birds, and it was just magnificent. But I went through, I call it the dark night of the soul, which is a tunnel. I will call it the dark tunnel, where you find yourself, and you find yourself in the darkness. Creation is in the darkness.
It is.
It is.
You said on your journey, you were raised Catholic, right?
Yes, I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
So
So
I had to unlearn. I had to
yeah,
unlearn.
that's where I was getting with that.
I had to unlearn lots and lots of things of, you don't know who you are. You don't know.
No.
And when you know who you are, you will find your God self. When you find yourself, when you know who you are, you will find your God self. And that way you come, it's like an inner standing, overstanding, understanding who you are. And when you find yourself, you will find the feminine.
Mm. And you were Pentecostal as well, right?
As well, yes. But
Yeah, yeah.
not for a very long time, but it was all in the journey, through
Yeah.
the conundrum of the lies, and so I so right now my religion is nature.
You were
Nature.
telling me before we went live that the thing that started was you started questioning.
Questioning every single thing. I am a walking question mark. I
I
question
love
every
it.
single,
That's why we're
and
all
if it does not make sense, it's a lie.
well, I love this. So the thing that so because I don't know this perspective, but from the feminine perspective, for me, seeing God as male and then beginning to say, well, now wait a minute, that it can't be just one way. Otherwise, this reality then is completely out of balance. And
Yes, it's
so,
totally out of balance.
and I think that's what it is, because how did you deal with the aspect of praise? Because, I am just a person, I by nature, I just give thanksgiving. I don't know what now I'm giving thanksgiving to other than the gratitude that at least I can come here and say, I don't know.
Well, I give gratitude to the rising sun.
Hmm.
I give gratitude to the moon. I give gratitude to the trees. I'm thankful for the oxygen. I thank them for the fruits. I thank them for the shade. I thank, as a matter of fact, when you really find yourself, everybody speaks to you. They said the entire universe conspires for you. The ants, the spiders, the bees, the birds,
Yeah. Yeah.
the cats, the dogs, everyone speaks to you and teaches you something. We are not superior to none of the creatures.
No.
When they say we were came here to take dominion over the animals, that is not true. Everybody serve their purpose.
Yeah.
We are one with everything. Everything has spirit. And Wayne, let me ask you a question. If somebody hits you, give you a slap or something, you will feel pain as long as your spirit is within you. If you are dead, which is a cost, a dead cost, do you think they can feel anything?
I wouldn't care. No. No.
They can't feel anything.
No.
So we are all spirits.
Yeah.
We are spirit first.
So, Goddess, I want to ask you something on this, Bernard. Then here's the thing. In that journey of the dark night of the soul, I mean, everybody I know in this chat room to a degree, and there's a lot of people I haven't seen before. Welcome. Um, how long did that take for you? And what was the epiphany that when it began, what I call is the new dawn, and you see this beautiful being,
Yes.
and wow, I mean, wow, it's intense for myself because we've all been there. But for yourself, can you describe that?
Well, a number of things happen. Now, it is not a one size fit all because my
Right.
journey is different to yours and everybody else. But with me, I lost everything. I had to start from scratch, and it was like losing things and losing. You have to unlearn a lot of things as well, and unlearning what you hold on to, that is very painful because
Yeah.
you're taught this and this, and you're taught this and that, and then it is something different. So that's what was very painful. It is a very painful experience. And then after you started, when I came out of the tunnel, I call it a tunnel. It took me it took me like about 2 years.
Yeah.
It take a while, and it all depends on you have to be willing to let go. It's a surrender. You have to be willing to let go of a lot of things, a lot of things you think you understand, and it was wrong. And it is so hard for you to dismantle that and unlearn certain things. So it is difficult. It all depends on the person,
Did you have
but
any
it may take a
anger?
while. What's that?
Did you have any anger?
Yes, I had
Yeah.
lots
Yeah.
of anger, lots
Yeah.
of anger, you know, because it was it was a painful experience. But when I came out of that situation in 2019, I became an artist.
Are we seeing some of
We,
your artwork behind you?
yes, every
They're-
piece.
Wow.
I
Wow.
became an artist. I it's a new dawn for me, you know, that people cannot believe. My friends who, they cannot believe that, but I never drew before. But that is connecting with the feminine because she's creation. Now, I couldn't carry a note because communication with the goddess or with spirit comes by song. I couldn't carry a note. I can now carry a note. I'm not a big singer, but I can carry a note, you know. So, I started in music. I started hearing the different instruments. Like, hey, I got, Claudians,
Yeah.
you know. It is a magnificent journey. It is hard. And when I tell people it is hard, people kind of don't understand when you say it's hard. You have to go full force into the situation. And it is so beautiful, you know, when you come out of and find yourself. But it's a lifetime journey, I have to say, because you still have, it's a continuous learning, but you must be able to surrender and continue learning.
As you're talking, I can't help but not recall in my life journey the lessons that at the time I didn't realize the value of those lessons. But, you know, in back in the early 90s, I had contracted Lyme disease and meningitis. The long story short, I lost everything because of the illness. And for myself, to lose your earthly possessions,
Yeah,
it I understood immediately what you were saying because we so often attach our self-image, self-worth to the possessions that we have. And it's an
truly.
interesting word, possession. Who has
Yeah.
possession of who?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And when you're homeless, and not because of anything that you did particularly, that was a very difficult time for me. But the lessons that I see now, as you were expressing, when my world crumbled, when I realized that the very gospel that I had basically built my whole life onto collapsed, um,
Mhm.
that lesson of learning a decade or so earlier by losing everything, the last thing I had to lose was that of my, one would say, your soul, your spirit, because it's only you there. There's nothing else. It's you.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
similar to yourself? I mean,
when you find yourself, well, it's like, as you said, you're clearing. It's like you're clearing a piece of land to build a house. It's like
mm-hmm,
that, you know. So you're clearing, and you're clearing, and you know what is when you go on the other side of truth. When you find yourself, you realize what is important and what not is important.
yeah,
Yeah, there are many things that I do not need in my life. There are many people that I do not need in my life, in the sense that because of the vibration. You understand? I feel at this point in my life, I feel freedom. I now
mm,
understand what freedom is. It is a journey. You still have to, remove certain, situations, certain, but it's about understanding and understanding and overstanding, you know, of who you are.
yeah. I've had
That is
thoughts in
important.
meditation where I think when we make the transition to our natural state, I was talking to my wife on this, Lynn, and because she deals with it every day, death,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
seeing people going through that transition. And as I told her, I said, I no longer value earthly material.
Yep.
It just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. I said, the hardest thing for me to do when that time and that moment arrives, I said, depending on how it works, who leaves first, you or I, would be giving up you.
Yeah. Detaching.
Yeah.
That is a big, that is, you see that word detachment? It's a biggie when you are on this journey. You have to learn to detach to people, to things, to situations, and results as well.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to detach. I think that, there are certain things and one of my things was detachment. And detachment comes with a lot of pain, a lot of pain,
It
but
does.
when you free yourself, it is magnificent. You
You
will say, why was I holding on to this? You know?
true, true. And you have said you in our conversation earlier that you've lost a lot of friends because of where you are now, and particularly speaking about the divine feminine,
Yes.
that it seems to be offensive or something that people can't handle.
No. It's just something that people cannot handle. And, they feel that it, why? Because we always know that God is male, you know. Now, let me tell you, I do not believe in that Jesus Christ ever existed. That is one of my things that people
Mm-hmm.
cut me off for, because I say that is a thought form, and regardless, anybody could come with, but you leave, you stop believing and knowing. That is what about. It's about knowing the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And when I say speak to anybody about even family members, and I say that is never existed. He never existed, as far as I'm concerned. And
Boy, that would put you on the no pass list. Because
so,
Trinidad, I guess a lot of the Caribbean islands are primarily Catholic, right? They were.
Catholic, and yeah, and Pentecostal and stuff like that,
Mm.
And my mother was very staunch Catholic faith, and she grew us up in that. She go to church, go to school as was Catholic, and
So
I
she's
threw that
turning over in
away.
her grave.
I threw that away a long time ago, so I was blacklisted.
I love this. I mean, the energy here is just phenomenal because, well, because
Yeah.
so you divide, as I often say, and I know it's meant with, humor or what have you, but I said, the whole Jew on the stick thing just doesn't work anymore. I mean, it doesn't. But I'm like you, where I live, that is the mainstay of virtually everyone around where I live. It's just to deny Christ is, you know, they'll look at you like you've got three heads.
Exactly. Look like you're crazy.
Yeah. And that's funny because they won't let you explain because they don't want to hear it. They just don't want to hear it.
No, no, no. Just don't want to hear it. And, they think that you are,
And our
something is wrong
discussion,
with you.
there is, well, I've come to understand that, yeah, there is something wrong with me. I see, you know, and the divine feminine would be a direct threat even to a messianic savior because it's male.
Yeah.
And it virtually, again, is devoid of the feminine. I've had so many discussions on this. I said, listen, the Bible is anti-feminine. It replaced the goddess. It's not about to give quarter to her again. The divine feminine.
Yes. And when you were doing the subject on Nehemiah and Buddha, and all these things that was done, the meal was done,
Yeah.
did to the feminine, it is upsetting, and in certain traditions you see where how they treat the feminine. Like, I remember I was in a group sometime last year, and I stopped being in any group, any church or anything. I am not in anybody group or anything. The only place I belong is here with the soul tribe. And and this guy said something very horrible about the feminine. We were talking about abortion, and he said that the reason why that people reincarnate is because they have a karma to, and I totally disagreed with that. And he was saying that if a woman is raped, it's because she's paying a karmic debt. And that got me so annoyed.
Yeah.
So I went to town on him. You understand? Because that is so wrong. I said, and you have a daughter who's 16 years old. If somebody raped your daughter,
Yeah.
you will feel the same way that she's paying a karmic debt. And these are the things that people put in their head in churches and in groups and stuff like that. And they carry out on and they speak these things and think that nobody should oppose them about it.
As you were talking, go ahead, hon, finish. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is so unfair to say something like that.
Yeah.
No respect for the feminine. And the leader of the group said, women have no say. Now, women in the group will shut their mouths, but not me. That is so wrong.
Yeah. Part of our indoctrination in Christianity, Paul even said that the woman was to keep quiet, that she had no voice in the church. And as you and I were talking, the fact that we do not see the feminine represented on the world stage in leadership. But as you were talking, it became clear to me is that the young women, the young girls, they have no role model. They have no model at all in which to begin to fashion or build their lives for eventually a life of leadership. And understanding the problem that we have today with the females who do make it into power, they want to be like the male.
That is true. And they have to understand it's not about being a man. It's about complementary. It's about complementing the man. What about compassion? These are certain qualities of the female that must be presented to the world.
And I'm sitting here, and there's the conundrum because, I mean, in our lifetime, and I don't know how old you are, uh,
I'm 66.
66. So we're of the same generation. I mean, I
Mhm.
grew up with Golden Meir in Israel, very
Yes,
strong personality.
yes,
Margaret Thatcher is one that I can think of as well. Golden Meir, and then the Prime Minister of India, I can't remember her name, but
Indira Gandhi.
thank you. These were what I would call what made them so unique was the fact that they were not trying to be men.
Men, yes, yes,
They were a woman.
yes,
They were looking at the world politics, the world scene through a different set of lenses, a different set of eyes that the world really doesn't understand.
true, true.
Yeah. And if we don't have the young girls today growing up, if they have, I mean, to have a role model like a Taylor Swift, I mean, that's asinine. It does nothing but basically distract and keep them suppressed.
Yes,
So
yes.
how would you address that? Goddess tell because I'm curious because I, it would have to be initiated by the divine feminine, the female.
Firstly, what I think is that the whole education system has to change. That is the first thing,
Yeah,
so that that young girls can understand the role that women play in leadership. That's the first thing, and that is something that we have to do as adults. As the elderly, we have to, write
yeah,
subjects, have talk about it, about the feminine, because the younger people, they are educating themselves so that they compete with the man. So they want to be more man than the man.
true.
That is the problem.
That is the problem. Yeah. You're
you
holding a
know.
book. Is that it's interesting.
No, I don't have a book. It's just a little notebook. I just jot down little things in it as the thoughts come to me. As yeah,
Great.
thoughts come to me. I don't
I've
have a
always
so I just write down things. I
excellent.
write a lot. I journalize a lot of my experiences. That's what
You should
I
see
do.
my
So
office. I have post-it notes everywhere.
yes, yes, because
I've got
you
until 7.
because you are being taught continuously all the time.
Yeah.
When you find yourself, you are being taught in the dreams. I lay in my bed. I get up at 3 in the morning. I get up and I'm messages keep coming. I also have to have a pen and a paper by my bed because messages come sometimes when you're asleep
Yes.
and you're
Yeah.
so tired, you're so sleepy to get up and write it down. But you don't, and if you don't do it, it will go and never come back. That is
Yeah.
the only thing. You have to write down, get up, force yourself up and write down the messages that you get. Because when you think that you remember in the morning, you don't.
I learned that decades ago, if you don't write the vision down, the vision's going to find someone else to write it down. And
Yes,
it's
yes,
true. It's true.
yes.
So,
There are
Goddess
so many
Abeena,
messages. Mhm.
one of the things I'm curious as well, we study the occult here. We study, magic, we study divination, many of the arts. And when we look into the subject of primarily, dealing with beings, whether they be called angels, demons, what have you.
Deities, I call them deities.
Okay, thank you. Um, that is still male dominant. I mean, everything that I read in the occult is primarily male dominant.
But
It,
strange
it
enough, I
permeates everything.
well, strange enough, my messages come a lot from the feminine deities. Because on my journey, I was contacted by a feminine deity by the name of Emoja, which I were in the African pantheon, that is the mother of all mothers, and she has taught me a lot of things, and that's a water deity.
We need, as a group, um, we need learning, and I'm writing this down, on how to contact these female deities, these entities.
Well, contacting deities do not understand language. That is why the lyrics is very important, because they understand song. Song. You have to know certain mantras to say, to contact the deities. And when you go to the waters, you can, make the song, certain songs in the water, and they will manifest themselves. Because there are a lot of water deities, and they are feminine that I know.
I love this, and I'm so grateful for that which I have been taught. Because I sing my praises, primarily when I am anointing my body with the living waters. And, people call it taking a shower or whatever. But it's, my encounter back in 2016 with what I clearly am convinced was the essence or the spirit of which would be Lilith, which is representative of, I think, that divine feminine.
Divine feminine.
Thank you. And along this journey, which has now been almost since 8 years since that happened, I'm looking back, and it's amazing how I keep seeing the stones being laid of more understanding from this male, of understanding what that feminine really is. It's not a sexual aspect, but there's a beauty to that. And that's the barrier, I think, that most males have to be able to overcome and defeat in order to get into that plateau of understanding. It's a recreative or creative energy is what I'm sensing more and more often. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're not. Because Wayne, let me tell you, we always have to put into understand that deities come in: earth deities, water deities, air deities, fire deities. Now, you are a Gemini. I am
Yes.
Aquarian. We are air elements. So with the air elements, we have air elementals that we supposed to pay libation to. Now, libation is not only water, but libation is the incense, and that is what we should be using as air elementals. That is very, very important. We have to know your element and know your elementals. So you can contact a feminine air deity, and she can work with you.
Wonderful. I like this. I
Yes,
do.
yes, because we are air signs. Even in having a partner, you can an air deity can go with a fire deity, because the air deity will fan the fire.
Yes. That's what
The
Lynn
fire
is.
of the air, right? She's a fire. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
So you're the right match.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
part of the reason why, we both will be cremated, because in my sense is the fire releases that essence of who I am back into which I came from. I
Mm-hmm.
was never meant to be put into the ground. That for me would be well, for myself would be an abomination to be, even though I love my body. And I know at one time I'll have to separate and say goodbye to it and let it do its thing. But in the meantime, I want to give it as much of an opportunity as I have.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, that's a little bit off the subject, but
But yes, but I could also say during my journey of in I went through a time, because I realized that your body makes changes within your body. Changes take place when you free yourself from the lights. And I remember I got this pain in my stomach. When it was excruciating pain, I don't know what happened. I went to the hospital. They couldn't find what was wrong. And then I was listening. I can't remember the guy's name one day, and he was saying that he went through the same thing. I had a CT scan done, and they found nothing, and it's because of the adjustment, the solar plexus. I tell you, it is an intense, when you surrender and you make up your mind to make the changes in your life, it causes a lot of pain. Physically, mentally, and everything else.
Oh,
Found nothing. I had this CT scan done, and this guy was, after that, he was explaining the same thing, and he went through a CT scan as well, and they found nothing. And then everything was all right. But it's the adjustment. You adjust every part of your body. When you make the changes, it affects your body.
I'm taken aback. I love this. So
Yeah.
where you are now on your journey, there is, yeah. So tell us where you are now, because it seems to me you now, your artwork. By the way, do you sell the artwork?
Yes, I do.
Well, you need to send me a link so people because I'm looking at, like to look at some more of it, but um, it seems like you now have a much bigger mission. But let us know, where are you at now?
Where I'm at now is service, service to humanity.
Wow. I love it.
If you're willing to accept the truth, I am here to teach.
And what is it that you will say to someone? Because, we have a pretty good audience here. Hi, Trina. What would be a person who says, well, help me out here, Goddess, in understanding this? What would be kind of like the first steps that you approach this with?
Meditation.
Meditation.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And meditating on anything particularly?
No, free your mind and things will come. The answers
Oh,
will
it's
come.
true.
Ask the question, and the answers will come. In meditation, I believe in meditation. But you have
Absolutely.
to pull yourself away from and I cannot say that I have no set of friends or anything that comes who has stuck with me through this journey is like one or two people.
Mm.
And another thing that sometimes you will go out and you will attract the wrong people. I went to a funeral some time ago, and this gentleman, he just looked at me and think I'm an angel. he, he said he said you are an angel. He said he had, but he had an agenda. You understand? Because
Oh, I
as
do.
someone was
I'm
explaining to
pretty
me that
well.
you attract, and it's because of declaring, so you're light, because we're all light,
Yep.
someone will see it, and that it will attract the good or the bad.
Mm-hmm.
That is what had happened. Yeah, the good or the bad. So I am in. I will tell anyone now is meditation. Meditation is the answer.
Yeah. When you were talking like that, is that expression. So what are you going to be, predator or prey? And, because that's the whole thing is I see today is that we're gaining understanding, but we are strangers in a strange land.
Yes, we
We are
are.
not the norms. People look at us and they listen to us to talk. You're right. They think we're back crap crazy. You people have you've gone off the deep end and you don't even know where the shallow end is anymore. Um,
You will find your way. You will find your way.
then yeah, I said,
Trust me,
well,
you find your way.
you know, learn to float, buddy. That's all,
Yeah.
but there is, and I think that this is, and I'm just brainstorming as talking, is that we have such conflicts today in this world that we call reality. And the insanity that's taking place. And I think about this. I'm up many times at 3 o'clock in the morning, and your spirit doesn't stop.
Yes, yes.
And it's like you have this answer. It may not be a cure-all, but it certainly will add to the solution.
Yeah.
But, Bernadette, I think where people are concerned when you start talking to them about the divine feminine, they don't know what that is. Number one, most males have no idea what the feminine is, much less what divine means.
And they get very angry with me for, for even mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank God. I must say that, I'm a strong person in the sense that, and I stand my ground when you have your knowledge, you know, because if you tell them about the feminine, it, men get very angry about it,
They do.
get getting in touch with your feminine side, and how dare you say that, you know, that kind of thing, I have a relative who is very academic, and he will embrace. I keep saying that you have to embrace the right side of the brain. You cannot. You're retired now, but I am speaking gibberish to them to him by saying that, because he always wanted to be a musician and he never embraced that. And that is when you embrace the feminine, all these things will come out.
It really is
She
the
will bless you
creative
with
power, isn't it?
creativity, in creative power.
Yeah.
To bless you with creativity. I am so happy with my. I tell you, I never thought I could have been an artist.
You're
As a matter of fact,
talented and gifted, darling. I'm looking at the artwork behind you. It's it speaks. I mean, that's an energy. That's a gift. It's a talent.
oh, I am thankful for it. Look, that's the heart. When I reach to the level where I understand the heart, the connection between the heart and the brain. You have to enlighten the heart and lighten the heart. You know, and lightening the heart makes you a little softer. It gives you a lot of more compassion, and sometimes you cry for little simple things. But it's all about lightening the heart and connecting the heart to the brain.
Mm. I can see that in the painting. I mean,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I get sad when I find out that I stepped on an ant. I mean, it's like, damn it. I mean, I just ended that creature's whole existence here. Like 1 minute it was fine,
Yes.
and boom, the next minute it's, lights out.
Yes.
But
The
Kutaglini King says, I recommend two books, He and She by Robert A. Johnson. I have not read that. I haven't heard those, but thank you. I think it's so. The little time we have left here, Goddess Abeena, I love that. And
yes.
I think, ladies, y'all should find your name as well. I think we should say that. If we say we're gods, we should be easily first to say that, you know, are we all goddesses? I don't know about that. Is the spirit blended into one, or is it cast into uh proportionments, partitioned?
I wouldn't say it is partitioned. It's one. It's one.
Yeah.
You have to unite. It's about the sacred marriage. The sacred marriage is what we need to understand. And the sacred marriage is the marriage between the masculine and the feminine.
Mm.
That is the ultimate goal, is to marry you two.
Well, as you were just saying that, I'll just speak it out there for all you men who can't or won't. The the struggle that, and I've told Lynn this, I said the thing that I said the desire that I have in the unionship is being able to touch the essence of who and what she is, and vice versa. But it's
Vice
not
versa.
easily done. It's through the decades of lack of knowledge and understanding, a proper point of view on what it is to be a woman, and disassociate myself from what I saw growing up as a child and what I experienced most of my adult life. These are foreign things that I struggled with many times. Meditation helped through that because I think, in essence, within me, there is that gap of understanding that perspective that I've lacked. And that's why I have respect for women today. It's, yeah, not sure if I'm expressing it correctly, but those are some of the things that I see within myself of understanding that. And I think until the male of our species begins to do that, because I think we're under this God spell, this male matriarchal Abrahamic curse, that she's not going to be, she'll be struggling to get free. And as you said, free in the divine feminine. Wow,
Yeah.
that should be our mission as a species, Bernadette.
Okay. I just took some notes here. What I'm saying is that the benefits of embracing the divine feminine is wisdom, compassion, love, justice and truth, relationship and harmony. That is
Yes.
what the benefits of embracing the feminine.
When you mentioned wisdom, in my years as a Bible student, I always found it interesting because I wrote out word for word the book of Proverbs. And the first 3 chapters of Proverbs is about wisdom, about the necessity of acquiring wisdom. But wisdom is always presented in the feminine noun. It is a she, it is her. And
Yes.
it's,
Yes.
as you and I, because we come from the same background, I remember in the book of Proverbs, it said, she was his daily delight, for she taught him this male God. So
Yes.
the wisdom, and isn't it odd that in today, I would say that wisdom is the one thing that's lacking so much.
It is. You know, as I keep saying, is that a lot of people have information, which you see is knowledge. But if you don't convert the knowledge that you have into wisdom, it's a waste of time. It's just information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knowledge must be converted into wisdom because you have to, knowledge is active. You got to act on the knowledge that you have.
Yes. I tell you, I am learning, folks. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but wow, you have to come back on. I think you could help teach this group as well, and because this is how we begin to heal us. I think there's
Yeah.
a spiritual healing that is desperately needed, and I believe if we could accomplish that, wow, do you know that wisdom, I believe, will be forthcoming because I believe
Yeah.
she will see that. And I'm
Yeah.
speaking of the one true goddess. She was there
The feminine.
before the male ever came into
The
being.
male. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And that story about the female coming out of the rib of the male, all of that is rubbish. That doesn't make sense. You know,
It is
rubbish.
rubbish. It needs to be burned.
It needs to be banned. And you have to say it like it is. Don't even walk, gentle over it. It is rubbish. If it doesn't make sense, it's a lie.
Imagine that, Jace. Oh, because it's true. And I think very heartfelt conversations like this has been is responded in the ethereal realm. I think that
Yeah.
that energy, it's like I almost want to speak in tongues right now, but there is it's attracted, it's drawn to the energy that we put out in
Yes.
seeking it and just saying, hey, we recognize that you exist. I mean, that's the first step for at least my simple mind looks at it.
And you don't say Ra unless you say Ma.
Yeah.
Ra is the masculine, Ma is the feminine. And you have to say Ra and Ma.
Mm,
Don't ever
yeah.
leave out the feminine, and because it hurts her. You have to acknowledge her, the
Yeah.
masculine and feminine, the sun, the masculine and feminine of the sun. We always talk about the sun, the sun, the sun. The sun is masculine and feminine.
Mm, wow. This is like, it's a true healing therapy. I mean, we need to have more discussions of this
Yes,
because
yes. Bring the feminine to the fore.
yes, ma'am.
Free her
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I invite you back on anytime. Love to have you on with Trina and Jenny. And um, this is something that I think we can do as a group here. I mean, it's interesting because the demographics of this group has more women than it does men. Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting?
yeah.
Guess we're
That
doing
is good.
something.
Yeah. And I must thank you for sharing a lot of information. I have learned so much things in this group, you know.
Yeah.
And as I said, the only group I belong to now is the Soul Tribe. I am very skeptical about doing anybody's group and churches and stuff like that because, you know,
This is the only group
I do
I
not belong to
associate
anybody.
with. I don't trust anyone
And
else. I
the
mean,
only group I associate with. Exactly.
yeah, I mean,
And look at how been. It's about 8 years I've been here.
yeah,
It's
I
have
mean,
been a long
yeah,
time.
long time. I mean, going back with Patrick again, and
Yes.
and boy, Brenda, as you said that, it was very interesting because one of the things I learned in working with Patrick and as we were reaching out to these beautiful entities, that there was a clear distinction of a male sense of an energy and definitely a feminine type of energy. Our communications with Earth was one that I always found and boy, did she just want to talk. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
that
there's
was,
so many. There's so much she says. It's
yeah,
the and the thing about it is that she sends when I see the spider appear in my house, I know it's a message from the goddess. B sometimes in the kitchen and a monarch butterfly will fly in or a bird. Well, one of my things that I always did in order to build my will, I started fasting in the equinoxes and the solstices. And one of my I fast for 3 days and just focus on the feminine and have discussions. You talk to the spirit. And the last day of the fast, some time ago, I think it was in the summer solstice, a flock of birds came into my house, doves, and they were just flying around inside, flying all over my head. I was in awe.
well, I would have been absolutely floored as well. What a divine
Strange,
sign.
strange things happen, and I am saying, so now I understand, and I understand when the goddess is sending messages, and she's always on point.
Yeah.
I just receive it. In the beginning I was like, know, especially with those birds. They came inside the house and they were the last day of the fast, and they were just flying all around, all over my head, and plenty of them. And like one tell the other, and they were just coming in, come in the door was open, they came into the door, they came in, they flew all inside of the house. And I was like, what is this? You know?
Mm.
So she sent her children, Mother Earth, she sent her children to bring messages for you. Embracing the feminine is one of the most wonderful things we can do.
Goddess Abeena, I got to tell you, thank you. Uh, I'm just bubbling. You have been a breath of fresh air, um,
Thank you.
a voice of hope, and a
Thank you.
voice of encouragement. I mean,
Thank you.
what a precious treasure you are. And this group, this
Thank you.
family, um, I just want to say thank you. Just what a
Thank
joy.
you. Thank you very much for having me. And anytime you want, you can just
You're
let
going to
me
be
know.
back on, I'll tell you. And send me a link for where people can look at your paintings. And if you have one and love to, help out as well there. And that's one of the ways that we can say, hey, we love you. So
Okay. Thank you.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you to
Welcome.
everyone. Hi, everyone.
See?
Deborah,
All of
Nina,
them. Um,
all of them. I
wow.
send my love from the Caribbean.
And it's just
All my,
overflowing.
all the sunshine. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We're going to have you back on.
Okay.
Everybody, I'll be on Ryder's channel in an hour with, I think it's another guest of his. So go over there on Raised on Giants. And Bernadette, we're going to have you back on. I'd love to have you on with Trina and I and Jenny. I think it would be wonderful. So if you're available on
Okay.
the Tuesday, uh,
Yes.
circle that date because we'd love to have you on again.
Okay then. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone,
All
much
right.
love to you all. We will see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, uh, love one another, love yourself, and we're going to figure this thing out. We will. All right. Much love, everyone. Until we see each other again. Bye bye.